I'm not going to tell you why I left the United Cities. I don't know you, and you don't need to know. It's not a good idea to go spreading your past around to every would-be bounty hunter. But suffice it to say, life in the United Cities can be pretty repressive. That's why I like it here. The swamps might just be the freest place in all of Kenshi. And while you might think that comes with its own drawbacks, no empire means no oppression, but it also means no central authority after all. You're new here, so let me explain it to you. The swamps are a mess of sectarian violence. No one is really in control. It's chaos. Only people with authority here are the ones with the strength to claim it. And with so many people free to do what they like, there is always a challenger to the fragile order. Outside of the villages, you have gangs like the Red Sabers and the Swamp Ninjas. You might have seen them out there fighting each other, and trust me, you don't want to get between them. Those two gangs aren't much more than armed thugs, but the civilization around here isn't much better. They're all gangsters too. You've got black shifters, gray flayers, stone rats, twin blades, and the hounds, of course. Hounds basically run the show for now. They are tough, but not tough enough that they don't have to play nice with the others. So keep your head low when you're with me. Hounds don't like me much. A little misunderstanding I had with their chief, Big Grim. An honest mistake on my part. You see, when I first got here, I had nothing. So I went to Big Grim looking for work. She gave me a shot. Told me if I could smuggle some sweet sheesh into Clown Steady, I could be a hound. I didn't have many other opportunities, so off to Clown Steady I went. Made it in okay. Got lucky and those lazy gate guards didn't feel like doing a thorough check of my bag that day. However, once I was in, I couldn't find a shopkeep willing to fence the sticky stuff, so I was left with one option. The shinobi thieves were more than happy to take my cargo, but for half of what it was really worth. I figured that was the best offer I was gonna get, so I took it reluctantly. Sure, you believe my story, but when I got back to Shark to see Big Grim, she wasn't so understanding. She accused me of getting full price and pocketing half the value myself. Naturally, I protested, but she wasn't having any of it. They threatened to kill me for trying to steal from the hounds, started barking at me and everything. They take themselves a little too serious sometimes. So I booked it out the door real quick. Lucky for me, most of the other swampers are just itching for an excuse to pick a fight with the hounds. When they saw me running across the duckboards, every gray flayer jumped in to fight. But here's something the swampers could learn from the Red Sabers, and that's to have some sort of uniform. Because once the stone rats and the twin blades started seeing the gray flayers and the hounds going at it, they all jumped in too. Man, to say it was chaos is an understatement. Everyone was fighting, and you couldn't make out who was on whose side. Total anarchy. In the confusion, I stuck my way out of town, headed southeast to the Stone Rats. They were pretty accommodating. You see, they figured if I could sneak into Clown Steady and snuck out of Shark right under the hounds' noses, they figured I might have a career as a smuggler yet. I picked up my supply of fish and drugs from them and started making runs into Catton. I got real good at being quiet and picking locks in their employ. Stayed there for a while, till things quieted down in Shark. Gave it some time for people to forget my face. But you see, the swamps are about freedom. I wasn't destined to be a cheap smuggler forever, scratching a small profit from runs selling someone else's sheesh. I got to thinking I needed a real caper. Something that would put my sneaking and lockpicking skills to good use. People talked about how the swamps used to be even wetter than they are now. That back in the days of the old empire, it used to be a huge inland lake, with a port city and everything. Rumor was the ruins were still out there, hidden in the vegetation. I searched for ages looking for those ruins, and the treasure that might be inside. One time I even thought I found them, but much to my dismay, if there was any treasure there, it was long gone. The set of ruins I had found were only full of old junk and not much more. But listen to me, because this is the best tip I'm going to give you. In the swamps, your destiny is your own, and if you persevere, you might find a chance to risk your life for no good reason at all. Look, I found those ruins in the end. The lock was easy enough to pick, but I didn't just find treasure inside. The place was a nest for an ever-loving Garu load of blood spiders. Ever tangled with blood spiders before? Nasty little venomous things. If you're lucky, you'll only lose a leg when you mess with them. I beat a hasty retreat back towards the closest village I could find. Those bloodsuckers followed me for miles, but I got away clean, though completely empty-handed. I went back to Shark to feel sorry for myself. I spent so much time looking for that treasure. only to find it and yet not be able to get it. You ever been so close to something that remains just out of reach? Well, anyway, I drank a lot of blood rum and lost a lot of money to the black shifters playing cat's crawlers, but I learned it wasn't a total waste of time. When I was in the casino bar, I heard a reliable rumor about the chief of the Red Sabers. They said he carried a legendary blade, a real high-value item if anyone could steal it off him. Now I've roamed these swamps for a long time looking for those ancient ruins. I've come to know them quite well, and of course I knew where the Red Sabers' hideout was, mostly so that I could avoid those bandits like the plague. But now that I knew what was in that old rat's nest, I found myself drawn to it. In the cover of night, I snuck in, swift and silent. I plucked that horse chopper off him. It was almost too easy, too good to be true. But here, take a look. No, you aren't dreaming. That's a real Me Too blade. Never rusts, never tarnishes, never lost its edge. You couldn't imagine the number of bandits I've carved up with this thing. Alright, confession time. I haven't been completely honest with you, and not just about the cats I pocketed off the hounds. You see, I know who you are. Or really, I know what you are. A long time ago, I got real good at spotting slave hunters. How do you think I got out of the United Cities in the first place? I'm sure you thought you were heading into the swamps to wrangle up that escaped slave who made it good with a Me Too blade, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. After all, that's what the swamps are for. It's the land of opportunity, the land of freedom, a place with no masters and no slaves. So you can drop everything you've got and start fresh here in the swamps. Or you can find out firsthand what a legendary sword is capable of.